Hey, everybody. Today we're diving into the world of the enterprise with Apple Solutions and an expert in the field from Addigy. Jason, how are you?
Thank you. Great to be with you, Evan.
Great to chat with you. Really intrigued by your mission and vision. Maybe start by telling us what is Addigy all about and the big idea behind the company.
Yeah, we started about a decade ago. I came from the world of embedded software and PCs, but really nobody was putting a major focus on Apple. There's a lot of open source tools, and our mission was to provide the best security, productivity, and Apple expertise for our customers. And when you break that down, it's really securing those Apple devices because they're always in the boardroom, they're everywhere, but IT doesn't usually have a good hold on them. And then be able to provide the best productivity possible when you have those Apple devices, you're investing in them. And lastly, a partner for that Apple expertise, because it's always great to have Apple expertise as a partner to what you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. And I can attest to always wanting my Apple devices in the enterprise, and up until the last few years, getting a lot of pushback. Why is that? What's the gap in the marketplace? Mobile device management is a well-known, well-understood technology, but what was missing?
Yeah, I think early days you didn't have mobile device management itself. It wasn't
Hmm.
there for, especially the Macs, the productivity systems of organizations, and they were the redhead stepchild. They were BYOD, bring your own device. But I think COVID really accelerated all of that and said, you can't have a mobile phone or a Mac that has access to company data without it meeting the right security requirements and having it fully managed. So we just don't hear BYOD much anymore, do we? It's if you're going to use it for corporate purposes, it has to meet company security requirements.
Yeah, what a sea change that is. So, who are your primary customers? What's the big benefit from working with Addigy, at the moment?
Well, split. We have internal IT customers, anywhere from tech companies to education and,
Hmm.
and nonprofits that have a lot of Apple devices. And then we have over 2,000 managed service providers, IT companies that use us to manage multiple SMBs in the area. So the good part is when you're a small organization, it's kind of hard to have that level of focus with Apple devices, but having a channel of IT companies and MSPs that use us to manage and provide the best experience possible is that other point of leverage.
Totally. And Apple's come a long way in terms of, enterprise like features. You no longer have to worry about your phone being stolen and hacked and lost in the days like you did a number of years back. But who benefits from Addigy's mobile device management solutions? What's the sort of value add there?
I think everybody does. When you think about it, it's the organizations that typically are the ones leveraging and using us, but really providing a great productivity experience. One of the things that I get
Hmm.
frustrated with is when we look at security when it comes to tech, it's about gardening off, walling off the end user at the moments when they're out of compliance or they're not meeting the right requirements. Well, our goal is to make sure that they're always in continuous compliance. They're always using the
Hmm.
most productivity tools they can. I mean, when we think back to COVID, that was their only outlet for providing productivity. And we have to give them all the tools and capability possible in that secure footprint.
Totally. And so what does it mean for security these days and compliance on Apple devices? Is it just staying up to date or with the latest releases, or what are the things that you're most concerned about?
I like to call it, baking a cake. We got to get that first layer foundation, and it always does come down to patching. We want to make sure that we're on the latest and greatest OS and patch, maybe the greatest OS -1. That's where they focus their security work and their patching. And the last patch that came out before the major release addressed 65 CV vulnerabilities. And
Wow.
leaving that out there for 0-day vulnerabilities is just not good. So that's case number one, and leveraging the right tool sets to do so in a reliable way. Then from there, it's applying CIS or NIST compliance benchmarks. And now we offer DISA and CMMC standard, which are the highest level of government compliance benchmark standards. That is something that doesn't have to be a very heavy requirement, where you have auditors that come in. By the time they're done, that data is already stale and out of date. No, very clear benchmarks that we can apply and keep the device in continuous compliance state. So the CISOs are, whenever they're asked, yes, we have everything fully under control. I can see it in the moment, and Addigy is keeping it in full 100% compliance at all times.
That's great. And there used to be a belief, including, on my end, that, Apple devices were inherently secure, and, Macs and iPads, iPhones, just, you didn't need to do much because, they were pretty well baked, but including things like malware, ransomware, that doesn't seem to be the case these days. What's the reality?
Well, I mean, I think the hardware itself is pretty secure. We got secure enclave capabilities in there, and Apple does invest a lot of time and effort into it. However, the point was, back then there wasn't a tremendous amount of Apple devices out there, so the threat vector for people going after them was, what return are we going to get out of that versus hitting a swath of PCs? But now we do have a lot of Apple devices, and arguably with higher valued data and targets on them. So they're just for that particular purpose only, the sheer volume of them, they're becoming a higher vector.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I don't really recognize anything else in the enterprise these days. Certainly phone-wise in the US, it's all Apple. Now, what is your go-to-market? How do you work with customers and partners and MSPs? Are you a sort of a SaaS solution, or what's your model?
We are a SaaS solution. Our platform, once you bring the device in through MDM or just enroll it itself, everything's fully managed from there. So the whole experience when people buy a new Apple device from the store, from drop ship to their environment, as long as it's a company device, it automatically gets provisioned with zero touch. Nobody has to touch it. It comes out of the shrink wrap plastic and gets fully provisioned. You log in with your IDP credentials, and everything is fully taken care of from there, from cradle to grave. But we invest a tremendous amount in the onboarding and the care for our customers. It's been really the important pivotal thing that we do, which is invest in that partner early on, help them in the right trajectory where they want to go. Our platform is not that complicated, but if you do invest that time and effort, then they can be that much more successful. And that's really helped, especially our MSPs, which are constantly growing, adding new customers, helping to unlock that potential for customers.
That's great. You mentioned MSPs. That seems to be the fastest growing part of the market, certainly in security, for sure. How do you work with them, and what's been your success there? What's been your secret?
For MSPs, we're the only multi-tenant MDM on the market, period. So whether it's a very large corporation that has 20, 30 different companies rolled underneath them, and they have to manage them all in one account, or it's an MSP that has to manage all these different customers, it's about the scale with which they deliver those services. So if there's that 65 CV vulnerability patch we got to roll out, we don't want to do that across our 50, 60 customers. We want to roll it out to everybody and make sure that everybody's running the same foundation. So we do that. And I think in turn, they're able to provide a level of service that, a small business just can't do internally by themselves. So they have that power, that depth with MSP, and leveraging Addigy together. I think we just provide a great experience for organizations.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And tell us about the genesis of the company. I think you were the original founder as well as being CEO. What was that like so many years ago?
Yeah, I'm an engineer by trade. So I date myself by telling people I was the lead engineer in the first GPS-enabled phone at Motorola, and many other different things that I worked on. But inevitably at CA and Computer Associates and Kaseya, but just nobody was really focusing on those Apple devices. There was a hodgepodge of different open source tools out there. And, second child in the way, felt like this is a great time to start a business and bootstrap a great idea. And it was a phenomenal team that we put together, great customers. And, it just makes you very excited to get up in the morning and deliver more value with your team and your customers every day. So exciting
I
journey.
bet that is. Yeah. And speaking of customers, where do you see yourself getting most traction? Are there certain verticals or segments, SMEs versus large enterprise? What's been on fire lately?
Well, the compliance area has been one of the biggest unlocked challenges overall for organizations. So, if they're delivering anything for the government, if they're
Mm,
education and receiving federal dollars, they have to meet CIS benchmarks and NIST benchmarks. If they're doing government, they've got to do CMMC standards. So, those regulations at a security level, they're hard, they're expensive. But on the Apple side, we do make it very, very easy. You go in, assess where you're at, 80% there, then you can dial it up as you see fit in your proper roadmap and get your organization to 100% continuous compliance of those benchmarks. So that's been one of our biggest growing areas. And then you just look at what Apple's doing around Apple Intelligence.
mm,
Organizations do want to be able to best manage how they leverage AI within their
mm.
organization, especially on device, because this is using the context of your iMessages, email, calendar. So you're under the Apple umbrella of privacy, but you're using a tremendous amount more context in your AI work, especially if you're talking about education. The days of not allowing us to use our calculator in class, forget it. It's a different level of tools we've got as a student.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And Apple's come a long way in the enterprise. They seem to be really adding a lot more enterprise class features and providing, better support for businesses, building a network of consultants that you see out there that didn't exist before. But what do you think? Is Apple really catching on in the enterprise? Are they
I mean, it's
beyond
always
just
been a
being great
bottom up.
products?
Yeah, it's always been a bottom up approach to what they do, which is almost like so many other companies of Dropbox and others, where I think as much as IT push back, and we get this all the time, we go to conferences and people are like, we hate Apple. It's because they just don't want to embrace it and leverage it. But there's no stopping the demand within the organizations from people and employees wanting to use it. Are you going to retool, students that come out of school that have never used a PC and get them to use it and recruit the best talent possible? So, yeah, they're definitely taking and building the real robust infrastructure required. For example, MDM is going away. They built a new infrastructure called declarative device management, and we're going to see a lot of
Mm.
companies go away that previously offered MDM, and they're really taking on identity in a big way. So, like, zero trust comes down to the end user, making sure the end user is the one that has all the power of capabilities on the machine, and it's not about the device management per se anymore. It's about who's logging in. And giving them access to that keychain across the right tools they need, and not carrying passwords anymore, using Apple's pass keys and such.
Yeah, and I'm excited for all that as an Apple user as well. Going to be pretty exciting times. What are you excited about the rest of this year into next? What any events or meetings or other meetups that you're planning on?
We got a lot of conferences coming up. We'll be at Spice World. We've got
Mm.
ConnectWise IT Nation, Kaseya DatoCon, quite a few other conferences in education and government. So it's a busy Q4 ahead, but we're definitely looking forward to some just a lot of new capabilities and higher, more stringent security work that's being done in the Apple sphere. So I think your point is exactly right. They've been more secure devices traditionally, and with the right vendor, it goes to a level that PCs can't even touch as far as having the highest security possible. That trajectory continues to grow, and we're going to see that next year, where they will no doubt be, along with the right tools, because you have to enable a lot of these things,
Mm.
the most secure devices out there, period.
Well, exciting times. I'll be sure to look you up at the couple of the events I'm at. You got Enterprise Connect and the IT Expo coming up early next year. So I hope to see you out there in the marketplace. Thanks so much for just sharing some insight into your mission and vision.
Appreciate it, Evan. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jason. Thanks for everyone for listening and watching. Fascinating insight into Apple in the enterprise. Take care.